Hello chess friends and welcome to your Out Chess channel and welcome back to the Tata Steel Masters in 2025. So we're now already in the round 4 of this amazing chess tournament. Before the round 4, the leaders of this top event were the top grandmasters Ramesh Praggnanandhaa and Nodirbek Abdulsatorov. Both of them after the first 3 rounds gained 2.5 points. But today Nodirbek Abdulsatorov played a draw against Wei Yi, which gave now Ramesh Praggnanandhaa a huge opportunity to take the lead, to be the sole leader after 4 rounds, but his opponent was also a very strong Indian player, Leon Luke Mendonca, who qualified into the Tata Steel Masters by winning the Challengers event last year. So Leon Luke Mendonca really also a great player from India. But we have to mention in this Indian derbies, Pragg played so far a great event. He won both of his games against Pentala Harikrishna and also against his landman Arjun Ergaisi in a thrilling endgame. Let's see now what happened. Did Pragg take his chance today? Can Pragg now be the sole leader after 4 rounds of the Tata Steel Masters in 2025? So with white, Pragg opened with the move e4. Leon Luke Mendonca's response was e5. We have knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5. So far, the Ruy Lopez, the Spanish game, and after move a6, the Murphy defense. Bishop to a4, knight to f6. We have d3, the Anderson variation, and now after move b5, Pragg drops back. Here we have bishop to c5. A very aggressive move, I would say. Basically, I would say in this particular position you have 2 approaches. You can go into maybe close stuff with bishop to e7 or go more aggressive with bishop to c5. Both lines are perfectly fine. Bishop to e7 is, I think, more solid from a positional point of view, because in many of these lines bishop to g5 can happen and then the knight is a little bit pinned to the queen. With bishop to e7 you're preventing, of course, this stuff. With bishop to c5, of course, Pragg goes immediately with bishop to g5, and suddenly there are maybe some tactical issues, especially when the knight maybe comes here to d5. So now Leon Luke Mendonca has to now be careful on this dark square diagonal. We have h6, we have bishop to h4, d6, and now c3. Bishop to b6, because d4 is probably coming, and in this sequence, of course, Pragg could get an extra tempo in the center of the board. We have now the move a4, and now the real fun starts, I would say. Here there are many things that can be done, and we have already discussed the problems of this diagonal here by the bishop against the knight. In order to keep somehow, I would say, a pretty good position, the best way maybe here for black is to proceed with the g5, and then after bishop to g3 there is a nice defensive resource with bishop to d7 here. Bishop to d7, I think, is very necessary, because in a potential line like a takes b5, a takes b5, you have first of all connected the queen to the rook, and now after a couple of trades of pieces here on the a file, the issue is now when, for instance, knight to a3 happens, then you have this defensive resource, knight to e7, and you're protecting the pawn on b5. You see now there is a certain problem around the square b5 that I think Leon Luke Mendonca didn't take care of in a really good way. Here after move a4 by Pragg, you don't want to take, of course. Also, it's not good because then you're left with an isolated a pawn. But here black simply took, black simply escaped from this attack on the a file, and now here after a takes b5, a takes b5, now comes the tricky idea here by Pragg, knight to a3. And the position, I would say, is still pretty equal, but now again, you see, you would love to have maybe this bishop on d7 already here, protecting somehow this pawn on b5. In the continuation of the game, Leon Luke Mendonca played now the move b4, which gives, I think, finally white something something tasteful here, something that is at least doing something for white in the continuation of the game. Here I would say white should be slightly better, because Pragg after move b4 has, I think, many great chances. One of the great chances, I think, is even to play bishop to a4 immediately, allowing maybe b takes a3. Now comes this bishop to c6, comes with a check. You're trying to cover, but now we first of all take, and then after queen to d7, rook to a3, for instance, in this tactical sequence, white is winning a pawn. If, for instance, instead of b takes a3, bishop to d7 happens, then we can play knight to c4, b takes c3, b takes c3, leads, I think, again into a much, maybe not much better position, but really in a good into a good position here for white. Both bishops very, very active here. The knight can be always maneuvered on some active squares. We can also play casting rook to e1 d4 in some lines. It's, I think, a very nice progressive plan. So you see after here the move b4 that black was pretty much forced now to play. The position is somehow getting into white's favor. I think with this early g5 method that we have discussed and then bishop to d7, black could have solved many positional problems. So Pragg didn't want to rush into this bishop to a4 line. He played down knight to c4, a line that we have seen so far in chess history. I see one game in the database that has been played in 2023. Here Leon Luke Mendonca plays now b takes c3, and now after b takes c3 again, you see Pragg has really a beautiful attacking formation. All of the pieces are on most optimal scores all over the board, and now finally black secures the kings by castling. Also Pragg plays castling, king to h8, and now bishop to a4. You see the knight is on c6 is a little bit loose, and now comes, I would say, another critical moment of the game. Here Leon Luke Mendonca played now a slightly inaccuracy with the move bishop to d7. In the beginning, it seems like a logical idea that you are covering like this, but there are still some issues here for black to handle. First of all, the main issue is that you will never be able to get the queen out of this attack by the dark square bishop. If you play g5, then you weaken simply too much now your light squares, and the light square bishop is somehow stuck to the defense of the knight on c6 and also stuck to the potential problems on light squares on this side of the board. So somehow the position gets more and more, I want to, overloaded for black. Here a better choice for black was to go with knight to e7, getting simply out of this attack by the light square bishop, allowing maybe this line, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, but now maybe with the bishop pair you could do something, especially I would say the move f5 would be something, I don't know, useful here for black. Also rook to g8, maybe targeting the g file is at least doing some kind of a counterplay here for black, although again maybe slightly better position for Pragg. But here after bishop to d7, Pragg has now really many great chances. Rook to e1 is a good move. Rook to b1 is also perfectly fine, hitting the bishop. Pragg decided to play rook to b1 immediately. Here we have g5 finally, and after bishop to g3, we have now bishop to a7, rook to a1. There is now again the threat. Now suddenly the knight gets a little bit overloaded to the defense of also the bishop on a7. Again, black is pretty much forced to play the move bishop to b6. Pragg goes now with rook to e1, and this move is really good because this move is not allowing a common plan that black could make with the move knight to h5. You would love to play this move. You would love maybe to cement your position around the square f4, but this is not working because of a simple tactic. Bishop takes c6, bishop takes c6, and knight to e5. And look at this. The beauty about this move rook to e1 is that you're getting potentially out of this attack by the knight here. After knight to g3, notice the rook is not on f1 anymore. You can maybe just prolong the game, but now after knight to c6, the position is collapsing simply here for black. So you see the problem of the overload was simply too much here somehow to handle for black. Leon Luke Mendonca played now knight to e7 finally. He's trying now to play, of course, knight to g6, knight to f4, but now Pragg played aggressively in the center of the board with a beautiful d4, bishop to a4, rook takes a4, e takes d4, and you see now after c takes d4, that's a position that I think a Ruy Lopez player would love to get. This connected pawns in the center of the board that are rolling here. You could maybe try it on d5, but then bishop to e5 is coming very dangerously into the game. So suddenly black is somehow paralyzed by the beautiful piece activity here of white. Knight to g6 by black. Pragg goes immediately aggressively. Great move here. Here white has really the initiative. e5 breaking simply in the center of the board. You cannot even play d takes e5 because after knight to e5, knight to e5, bishop to e5, again you have the problem of the dark square bishop you can maybe play king to g8, but now you just break and enter here with h4, g4, I don't know, queen to d2, for instance, is one line that I've analyzed at home. So great position, of course, also here for Pragg. So after move e5, Pragg has somehow here very attacking chances. Knight to h5 by Leon Luke Mendonca, and now we have here e takes d6, knight takes g3, and now beautiful switching, so in between attack against the queen, d takes c7, queen takes c7, the rook is protecting the knight, which is great stuff, of course, gives here Pragg the time, the extra time, of course, to pick up the knight, and in this tactical sequence, Pragg won a pawn, and maybe not completely winning position, but I think in top grandmaster level, this is almost unplayable here for black. What should you do? You can maybe try king to g8, but again, the knight will get centralized. Knight to d5, knight to f5 is possible here. Many great squares for the knight. Very beautiful position also in this line. Instead of king to g8 here, Leon Luke Mendonca tried rook to e8, trying to compete against the rook. Pragg simply cemented the position again, goes for the f5 square, queen to d7, and now queen to a1. Beautiful attacking harmony here by Pragg. Really brilliant play by Pragg. Really great attacking style today. King to h7, rook to a6, simply applying the simple threat idea here, putting more pressure against black. Rook to b8, knight to c4. Look at this again, beautiful harmony. Bishop to c7, rook to a7. Every move now by Pragg is simply forcing now black to react. Queen to c6, and now rook to c1. Again, the simple threat idea. Look how black's pieces are exposed all over the board. Pragg has very dominating game here. All over the board. So what should you do? Even if you try maybe to go for trades of rooks, it doesn't matter. Rook takes b7, queen to b7. Again, the knight gets centralized. Then you hit this one, you get d5, knight to f5. I'm not sure. Look at this. All of these moves are really great here for Ramajbu Praggnanandhaa. But after rook to c1 here, Leon Luke tried rook to a8. Pragg simply continued with the beautiful move, great attacking move, d5, which is not allowing here queen to d5. Then you get this one, knight to e3 comes with a beautiful attack against the queen and also against the bishop. You're trying to take out this one, and now both pieces are hanging, the queen on d5 and also the bishop on c7. So Leon Luke Mendonca didn't fall for this. He played now rook takes a7, queen takes a7, and now we have this one, rook to a8, queen to d4, great centralization, queen to d7, and now d6. The d pawn is rolling here again. Black is simply pushed away by white's beautiful piece activity. Bishop to d8, knight to e5, queen to e6, and now a beautiful move again by Pragg. Knight takes g6, and this move actually is not allowing here Leon Luke Mendonca to play a solid queen to g6. You would love to maybe get the queen closer to the king and without, of course, messing up your pawn structure in front of black's king, but then knight to e5 is coming, you're trying to cover. We simply push this one, you're trying to cover, then we pick up the queen, and then there is this beautiful tactic with rook to c8, you try and pick up this one, and then you get the fork. So I'm sure that Pragg saw everything here. He played such a great game today. He was so well when it comes to so great when it comes to tactics. He had everything under control till the end of the game. Knight to g6, he found this beautiful idea which forces basically f takes g6, and now here the structure in front of black's king gets even worse. White has now great chances to deliver many dangerous checks. Here Pragg continues now again with a simple threat. Every move you see by Pragg is forcing always a reaction by black. Queen to f7, queen to e4, rook to a7, knight to e5, hitting the queen. The queen has to stay here connected to the g6 pawn. Knight to c6 forces now trades of queens, and now rook to e6. We have h5, and after king to h2, believe me or not, in this particular position, here Leon Luke Mendonca resigned. So what's the issue? The issue about this position is actually that black's pieces are paralyzed. You cannot look how really crazy this attack is by Pragg. It's sort of a Zugzwang position where black is running out of good moves. If you, for instance, go with your bishop somewhere, then you get check with rook to e7, and then you're pretty much forced to trade off the rooks, and the pawn is marching. The issue is you cannot move the king somewhere. For instance, king to g8, of course, is not possible because you lose the pawn on g6. But even if you go with king to g7 here instead of king to g8, then there is a problem of knight to e5 hitting the rook. You have to now step back, and now this pawn will be also lost. Then we attack both of these pieces, maybe even trade off further, and then with rook to g5, the position is collapsing. You grab all of these pawns on the king side. Okay, you can pick up this one, we pick up this one, but now with 3 extra pawns, obviously completely winning position here for Prague. And as I said, you cannot move the king, you cannot move the bishop somewhere. This square is also taken. You can maybe move the pawns here, but again, rook to e7, for instance, is winning the game on spot. Look at this, rook to e7, bishop to e7. We have this one, and you have to now give up the rook again for the pawn. So nothing really is working here in this particular position. Prague, as I said, after king to h2, had everything under control. You cannot move, of course, also the rook somewhere because the bishop is hanging. So beautiful attack here by Ramesh Babu Praggnanandhaa today. So with this win, Prague took now the lead. He's now the sole leader with 3.5 points out of the first 4 rounds. Prague so far in this event gained about 15 rating points already. Maybe we'll see now Prague taking over also somewhere in the rating list. So far he's around 2760 rating points. Still Nodirbek Abdusattorov, I believe, is in front of him. Also Arjun Ergaisi is in front of Prague, also Gukesh, of course. But for instance, Arjun Ergaisi is not playing his best tournament here in the Tata Steel event in 2025. Believe it or not, Arjun Ergaisi has gained only 1/2 of the point out of the first 4 rounds, already 3 losing games by Arjun. Although I would love to say Arjun is not playing such bad chess. He doesn't have really luck. He had many winning games, misses somehow the tactics. I would love to see a better Arjun in this event. Unfortunately, also today he lost his game, I would say, in a completely winning position, missed against some tactics. So, but I think Arjun will also get back into the event. So, congratulations to Prague. So far, he's the deserved leader of this event. He already played against Nodirbek Abdusattorov, who has now 3 points out of the first 4 games, who is also playing, I think, a great event. We'll see what will happen. This is so far a great Tata Steel chess in 2025. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. If you want to see some other games that we have analyzed so far, check out our coverage. Here are some links of some games that we have analyzed before. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos. And what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.